Every brain is unique, and understanding this is the first step toward truly understanding ourselves. Brain scans have revealed that no two brains function exactly alike. The structure, activity, and connectivity of each brain are influenced by genetics, experiences, environment, and lifestyle. This uniqueness explains why people respond differently to stress, learning, relationships, and challenges. What energizes one person may exhaust another. What motivates someone may leave another indifferent. The concept that one size fits all is not just a myth. It is scientifically impossible. Recognizing that our brain is one of a kind allows us to stop comparing ourselves to others and start focusing on our individual strengths, weaknesses, and potential. Brain scans provide a window into the inner workings of the mind, showing which areas are overactive, underactive, or balanced. For example, someone may have heightened activity in regions associated with planning and organization, making them naturally detail-oriented and strategic, while another person may have strong activity in areas linked to creativity and emotional awareness, making them imaginative and empathetic. Neither is better than the other. Both are different patterns of intelligence and capability. Many people struggle with self-criticism because they judge themselves against someone else's pattern of brain activity without realizing that their brain operates differently. The awareness of brain uniqueness is liberating because it reframes personal struggles as information rather than flaws. Difficulty focusing, managing emotions, or making decisions can often be traced to specific patterns within the brain, revealing actionable insights. It is not a moral failing but a signal that the brain needs support, training, or adjustment. Brain scans also demonstrate that our unique wiring affects learning styles. Some people excel with visual learning, while others thrive through hands, on experience or auditory input. Understanding your brain's natural preferences can dramatically improve productivity, communication, and success. Parents, educators, and leaders who appreciate brain uniqueness can tailor guidance and instruction, fostering better outcomes for children, students, or teams. Beyond performance, the uniqueness of each brain explains why people experience emotions differently. Anxiety, joy, motivation, and resilience are all deeply influenced by individual brain patterns. Two people facing the same situation may react completely differently because their brains process stimuli in distinct ways. Accepting this diversity reduces frustration in relationships, both personal and professional, because it highlights that reactions are not personal attacks but expressions of neurological individuality. Furthermore, brain uniqueness underscores the potential for self-improvement. Knowing which areas of the brain are underactive or overactive gives a roadmap for change. Interventions such as cognitive exercises, meditation, nutrition, sleep optimization, and therapy can be targeted to enhance underactive regions and calm overactive areas. The brain's individuality is not a limitation. It is a guide. It teaches us that self-understanding begins with observing our own patterns rather than imitating others. Every thought, habit, and decision is influenced by these unique neural signatures, and by paying attention to them, we can optimize our performance, emotional health, and relationships. Brain scans are more than diagnostic tools. They are mirrors reflecting the complex, intricate, and distinctive architecture of our mind. They encourage curiosity, self-compassion, and a proactive approach to personal growth. When we internalize the lesson of brain uniqueness, we begin to embrace our natural tendencies, leverage our strengths, and address challenges in ways that are precisely suited to our own neurological makeup. This perspective transforms how we approach learning, working, connecting with others, and making life choices. Recognizing the uniqueness of our brain empowers us to live authentically, make better decisions, and cultivate the habits that truly support our individual success. Our thoughts are far more powerful than most people realize. Brain scans and neuroscience studies show that every thought we have produces chemical and electrical activity in the brain, literally shaping the structure and function of our neural networks. This means that thinking is not abstract or intangible. It physically influences the wiring of our brain. When we repeatedly think negative thoughts, the brain reinforces those pathways, making it easier to think negatively in the future. Conversely, cultivating positive thoughts strengthens neural connections in regions responsible for happiness, motivation, focus, and resilience. This is the science of neuroplasticity in action, demonstrating that the brain adapts and changes in response to experience, practice, and repetition. Every worry, fear, or self-critical thought strengthens patterns that support anxiety and stress, while every act of gratitude, optimism, or visualization strengthens patterns that support well-being and peak performance. The implications are profound. The quality of our thoughts has a direct impact on our mood, behavior, decision making, and overall quality of life. Brain scans reveal that positive thinking activates areas such as the prefrontal cortex, which is involved in problem solving, planning, and regulating emotions, while reducing activity in amygdala, the region responsible for fear and stress responses. This means that by consciously focusing on constructive, uplifting, and empowering thoughts, we can literally calm our brain, improve emotional regulation, and enhance cognitive performance. Negative thinking, on the other hand, increases activity in the amygdala, floods the body with stress hormones, and can even impair memory, attention, and decision making. This is why chronic negativity or rumination is so damaging. It is not just a mental habit, but a physical influence on brain function. The good news is that we have the power to rewire our brains through intentional thought practices. Simple daily habits such as meditation, visualization, affirmations, and gratitude journaling create lasting changes in brain circuitry. These practices help develop stronger connections in areas of the brain associated with happiness, resilience, and executive function, making positive responses more automatic over time. Brain scans also show that our thoughts influence behavior and relationships. People who cultivate positive, compassionate, and empathetic thoughts are more likely to respond effectively in social situations, resolve conflicts peacefully, and build stronger connections. Negative or judgmental thoughts, however, reinforce patterns that lead to stress, miscommunication, and interpersonal tension. Understanding that thoughts physically shape the brain also reframes failure and self-criticism. When we recognize that unhelpful thinking is not a personal flaw but a neural habit, we can approach it scientifically. By replacing destructive thought patterns with constructive ones, we literally remodel our brain to support the outcomes we desire. This principle applies to every area of life, including learning, productivity, health, and emotional resilience. Athletes, artists, and leaders often use visualization techniques because research shows that imagining success activates the same brain regions as performing the actual task. This strengthens neural pathways, making the desired outcome more achievable. Every thought we focus on repeatedly has the potential to become a blueprint for our brain, influencing how we react to challenges, pursue goals, and experience joy. Brain scans confirm that the mind is not passive. It is an active architect of its own structure, wiring itself in accordance with what we think most often. By harnessing this knowledge, we can take control of our inner dialogue, consciously cultivate thoughts that serve our well-being, and create a brain that supports the life we want to lead. Mental health is often misunderstood as something separate from physical health, but brain scans and neuroscience make it clear that mental health is, in fact, brain health. Conditions such as depression, anxiety, ADHD, bipolar disorder, and addiction are not simply failures of character, lack of willpower, or personal weakness. Brain imaging reveals that these challenges are frequently linked to specific patterns of brain activity and connectivity. For example, depression is often associated with decreased activity in areas responsible for motivation and decision making, while anxiety may involve overactivity in regions tied to fear and stress. Responses. ADHD can manifest as underactive regions related to focus and impulse control, while addiction alters reward pathways that influence cravings and decision making. Recognizing that these struggles are rooted in brain function reframes the conversation about mental health, shifting it from blame to understanding and action. This perspective empowers individuals to take proactive steps to support their brains rather than punishing themselves for perceived failures. Brain scans also show that lifestyle factors play a crucial role in mental health. Poor sleep, inadequate nutrition, chronic stress, lack of exercise, and social isolation can all negatively impact brain function, exacerbating symptoms of mental health conditions. Conversely, improving these areas can strengthen neural pathways, enhance mood regulation, and improve cognitive performance. Understanding the neurological basis of mental health provides a roadmap for recovery. Interventions can be tailored to the individual's unique brain patterns, targeting areas that need support. Therapy, medication when appropriate, mindfulness, cognitive exercises, and lifestyle adjustments all work by influencing the structure and function of the brain, promoting balance and resilience. Importantly, brain scans illustrate that mental health is dynamic, not static. Even brains affected by long-term stress, trauma, or neurological dysfunction can recover and adapt through neuroplasticity. This knowledge offers hope and motivation, demonstrating that change is possible at any stage of life. It also highlights the importance of early intervention. By identifying brain patterns associated with risk, individuals can take preventive steps to strengthen vulnerable areas and reduce the likelihood of developing severe mental health challenges. Additionally, understanding mental health as brain health encourages compassion in relationships and society. When we recognize that behaviors and emotions are often rooted in brain function, we are less likely to judge ourselves or others harshly and more likely to offer support, patience, and effect. Guidance. This approach fosters a culture that values wellness, education, and proactive care rather than stigma and shame. Brain scans also reveal the mind-body connection, showing that mental and physical health are deeply intertwined. Stress and negative emotions can trigger inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and weakened immune response, while positive mental states enhance resilience, focus, and energy. This reinforces the idea that caring for the brain benefits the whole person. By viewing mental health through the lens of neuroscience, individuals can take control of their well-being in informed, actionable ways. Practices such as meditation, exercise, quality sleep, balanced nutrition, and social connection have measurable effects on brain function, demonstrating that we have tangible tools to influence our mental state. Ultimately, understanding that mental health is brain health transforms how we approach challenges, treat ourselves, and interact with others. It shifts the focus from judgment to evidence-based action, empowering people to nurture their brain, strengthen their mental resilience, and live fuller, more balanced lives. Brain scans are not just diagnostic tools. They are guides that illuminate the pathways to wellness and personal growth, showing that caring for the brain is caring for the mind, body, and spirit. Mental health is inseparable from brain health, and modern neuroscience makes it clear that the state of our mind is a direct reflection of the condition of our brain. Disorders such as depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, ADHD, and addiction are not simply products of weak willpower or personal failure. They are often rooted in distinct patterns of brain activity and structure. Brain scans reveal that depression, for example, frequently involves underactivity in areas responsible for motivation, planning, and emotional regulation, while anxiety often corresponds to overactivity in regions linked to fear, vigilance, and stress response. ADHD shows underactivity in regions associated with attention and impulse control, while addiction alters neural reward pathways, influencing cravings and compulsive behavior. Understanding these biological foundations shifts the perception of mental health from a matter of character to a matter of brain function, fostering self-compassion and providing a framework. Targeted interventions. Brain imaging also demonstrates the profound influence of lifestyle factors on mental well-being. Poor sleep, inadequate nutrition, chronic stress, and social isolation can exacerbate dysfunctional brain patterns, while proper rest, balanced nutrition, regular physical activity, mindfulness practices, and positive social interaction strengthen neural networks, enhance emotional regulation, and improve overall brain function. This connection highlights that mental health is not an abstract concept, but a measurable reflection of how well the brain is functioning. Recognizing mental health as brain health empowers individuals to take proactive steps toward improvement. Therapeutic approaches such as cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness training, and biofeedback work by modifying neural circuits, retraining the brain to respond to stress, regulate emotions, and make healthier decisions. When appropriate, medications can correct chemical imbalances and restore proper neural function. Brain scans confirm that these interventions are not merely psychological, but produce measurable physical changes in the brain. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and adapt, offers hope for recovery even in cases of long-term dysfunction. Traumatized or stressed brains can heal and develop healthier patterns when provided with intentional practices and supportive environments. This reinforces that mental health challenges are not permanent sentences, but signals of imbalance that can be addressed. Early recognition and intervention are critical because they allow individuals to strengthen vulnerable areas, prevent worsening patterns, and maintain optimal brain health. Understanding mental health as brain health also fosters empathy and reduces stigma. When we realize that emotions and behaviors are often dictated by brain activity rather than willpower alone, we are less likely to judge ourselves or others harshly and more likely to respond with patience, support, and effective guidance. Brain scans also highlight the profound link between mind and body. Stress and negative emotions can trigger hormonal imbalances, inflammation, and weakened immune responses, while positive mental states enhance resilience, cognitive function, and overall physical health. Recognizing this interconnection emphasizes the importance of holistic care that addresses both the biological and psychological aspects of well-being. By framing mental health as brain health, we equip ourselves with actionable strategies to strengthen the mind and body. Daily practices that support brain function, including meditation, physical exercise, quality sleep, balanced nutrition, and meaningful social connection, produce measurable improvements in neural activity and mental resilience. Brain scans serve as both diagnostic tools and guides, showing how specific interventions influence brain function and offering insight into the pathways to recovery, growth, and sustained mental wellness. This perspective transforms how we understand challenges, how we approach care, and how we empower ourselves and others to cultivate stronger, healthier, and more resilient brains capable of supporting emotional stability, cognitive clarity, and life satisfaction. Neuroplasticity is one of the most powerful discoveries in neuroscience, revealing that the brain is not fixed, but constantly capable of change, growth, and adaptation. This ability allows the brain to reorganize itself in response to experiences, learning, and intentional practice. Every thought, habit, and behavior influences neural connections, strengthening some pathways and weakening others. The implications are profound. No matter your age or past experiences, your brain can be reshaped to support new abilities, healthier habits, and improved emotional and cognitive functioning. Brain scans demonstrate that repeated actions, whether mental or physical, create stronger connections in relevant regions, literally rewiring the brain to make certain responses automatic. This is why practice and consistency are so critical in learning new skills, overcoming challenges, and forming positive habits. For example, practicing mindfulness or meditation increases activity and connectivity in areas of the brain associated with focus, emotional regulation, and self-awareness, while also reducing overactivity in regions linked to stress and fear. Similarly, learning a new language, instrument, or skill not only builds proficiency, but strengthens neural networks that improve overall cognitive flexibility and problem-solving ability. Neuroplasticity also offers hope for recovery from brain injuries, trauma, and mental health challenges. Brain scans reveal that even after significant damage, alternative neural pathways can be strengthened to compensate for lost function. Rehabilitation programs that incorporate repetition, targeted exercises, and mental training exploit this natural capacity of the brain to heal itself, demonstrating that deficits are not permanent, but malleable. This principle extends to emotional and psychological growth as well. Habits of negative thinking, self-criticism, or avoidance patterns create neural pathways that reinforce these responses over time, making them feel automatic and difficult to change. Understanding neuroplasticity means realizing that these patterns are not destiny, they are modifiable. By intentionally practicing new ways of thinking, responding, and behaving, we can strengthen healthier pathways, gradually making positive responses more natural and resilient. The same principle applies to stress management and emotional resilience. Techniques such as visualization, gratitude practice, affirmations, and cognitive restructuring physically alter brain circuits, increasing activity in areas that regulate mood and decreasing activity in regions associated with fear and anxiety. Over time, the brain learns to respond differently to stressors, reducing reactivity and enhancing overall well-being. Neuroplasticity also emphasizes the importance of lifestyle factors in supporting brain growth. Regular exercise, quality sleep, proper nutrition, and social engagement create an environment in which the brain can adapt and thrive. Brain scans show that these activities increase blood flow, support new neuron growth, and strengthen connections across regions critical for learning, memory, and emotional balance. By combining intentional mental practices with supportive physical and social habits, we can accelerate the brain's natural capacity to change. Recognizing neuroplasticity as a superpower transforms the way we approach personal development. We are not passive recipients of our circumstances. We are active architects of our brain, capable of shaping our thoughts, habits, skills, and emotional responses. Every decision to learn, practice, or improve creates measurable change in the brain, reinforcing that growth is possible at any stage of life. Brain scans make this reality undeniable, showing that even deeply ingrained patterns can be altered, rewired, and strengthened in ways that improve performance, happiness, and resilience. By embracing the principle of neuroplasticity, we shift from feeling trapped by our past or limitations to understanding that we can intentionally design the brains that support our goals. Relationships and overall quality of life. Trauma leaves a lasting mark on the brain, shaping thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in ways that are often invisible yet deeply influential. Brain scans have revealed that traumatic experiences, especially those occurring in childhood, can alter the structure and function of the brain, creating identifiable patterns that affect how a person processes stress, regulates emotions, and responds to the world. The amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for detecting threats and generating fear responses, often becomes overactive in individuals who have experienced trauma, making them hyper-vigilant, anxious, or easily startled. At the same time, areas such as the prefrontal cortex, which governs rational thinking, decision making, and impulse control, may show reduced activity, limiting the ability to calm the brain's fear response and think clearly under pressure. The hippocampus, critical for memory formation and emotional regulation, can also be impacted, making it more difficult to distinguish past trauma from present reality or to form coherent memories of experiences. These neural changes are not signs of weakness or failure. They are the brain's adaptive response to overwhelming stress. In the moment of trauma, these changes can be protective, increasing alertness and survival instincts. However, when they persist long after the threat has passed, they can interfere with everyday functioning, relationships, and mental well-being. Brain scans allow researchers and clinicians to see the specific ways in which trauma reshapes neural pathways, offering insight into symptoms such as anxiety, depression, hypervigilance, emotional numbness, and difficulties with trust or attachment. Understanding that these responses are rooted in brain patterns rather than moral shortcomings reduces shame and self-blame, creating a foundation for healing. The remarkable truth is that the brain retains the ability to recover from trauma through neuroplasticity, the brain's inherent capacity to rewire itself. Targeted therapies, mindfulness practices, and supportive interventions can help strengthen the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, while calming the overactive amygdala. Techniques such as cognitive, behavioral therapy, trauma-focused therapy, EMDR, meditation, and somatic exercises guide the brain to form new, healthier patterns of response. Even small, consistent practices can gradually shift neural activity, reduce emotional reactivity, and improve clarity, emotional regulation, and resilience. Brain scans also demonstrate the importance of supportive relationships in trauma recovery. Positive social connections activate neural circuits that counterbalance stress pathways, promoting feelings of safety, trust, and stability. Nutrition, sleep, and exercise further enhance the brain's ability to heal, as the body and brain are deeply interconnected. Understanding trauma as a brain signature reframes the approach to personal growth. It emphasizes that challenges stemming from past experiences are not permanent limitations, but signals that specific areas of the brain require attention, care, and retraining. Healing becomes a process of learning, practice, and environmental support, where the brain is an active participant in recovery. This perspective empowers individuals to take intentional steps toward reclaiming control over thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. It highlights that trauma is not destiny. It is an experience that can shape the brain, but with the right tools, interventions, and habits, the brain can reorganize and restore balance. Brain scans make this transformation visible, showing that even deeply ingrained patterns of fear, stress, and hypervigilance can be altered. By approaching trauma with knowledge, compassion, and intentional practices, individuals can develop resilience, emotional stability, and a renewed sense of empowerment, demonstrating that brain's capacity for healing is as real as the impact of trauma itself. The brain is the most powerful and valuable asset any of us possess, yet it is often overlooked and underappreciated. Every thought, action, decision, and emotion is generated, processed, and regulated by the brain, making it the central organ that shapes our experience of life. Brain scans reveal the incredible complexity and capacity of this organ, showing how billions of neurons communicate across trillions of connections to create our perceptions, behaviors, and identities. Understanding the brain as an asset means recognizing that caring for it, optimizing it, and investing in its health has the greatest return of any investment we can make. Just as we maintain a car, a home, or a business, our brain requires consistent attention, nourishment, and protection to perform at its best. Lifestyle factors such as sleep, nutrition, exercise, social interaction, and stress management are critical for brain health. Sleep, for example, allows the brain to consolidate memories, remove toxins, and reset neural circuits. Without sufficient rest, cognitive performance declines, emotional regulation falters, and the risk of mental and physical health issues increases. Nutrition directly impacts brain function as essential nutrients fuel neurotransmitter production, maintain cell membranes, and support neuroplasticity. Omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals are not just beneficial. They are fundamental to optimal cognitive performance and mental stability. Exercise enhances blood flow, promotes the growth of new neurons, and strengthens connectivity across brain regions, improving memory, focus, and emotional resilience. Brain scans clearly show that these practices produce measurable changes in structure and activity, underscoring the tangible effects of daily habits on the brain's performance. Social connection is equally vital. The brain thrives in environments rich with meaningful interaction, empathy, and emotional support. Positive relationships activate neural circuits that enhance happiness, reduce stress, and promote long-term health. Conversely, social isolation and chronic conflict can impair brain function, highlighting the importance of cultivating supportive networks. Stress management is another crucial aspect of maintaining the brain as an asset. Chronic stress floods the brain with cortisol, which can damage neural connections, reduce hippocampal volume, and impair memory and decision making. Mindfulness practices, meditation, deep breathing, and other stress reduction techniques physically calm the brain, strengthen regulatory circuits, and protect long-term cognitive function. Beyond maintenance, the brain is also an engine for growth and transformation. Neuroplasticity ensures that learning, mental training, and deliberate practice can strengthen neural pathways, enhance skills, and improve emotional and cognitive capacity. Every effort to challenge the brain, learn new skills, or practice constructive habits compounds over time, producing lasting improvements in performance and well-being. Recognizing the brain as the ultimate asset changes how we approach education, career, health, and personal development. It shifts the focus from short-term gains and external accomplishments to long-term investment in mental capacity, emotional resilience, and clarity of thought. Brain scans provide visual evidence of how these investments manifest, showing that the brain's structure and function respond directly to our choices, habits, and environment. Protecting and enhancing the brain also fosters empowerment. When we understand that our cognitive abilities, emotional regulation, and mental clarity are within our influence, we gain the tools to navigate challenges, make better decisions, and optimize our potential. Neglecting the brain, conversely, can have cumulative negative effects, impacting every aspect of life from relationships and career to health and personal satisfaction. Viewing the brain as a valuable asset inspires proactive behavior. Intentional learning, healthy habits, stress reduction, and nurturing relationships become priorities because they directly enhance the organ that determines our experience of life. This perspective transforms how we live, work, and connect with others, making the care, development, and optimization of the brain the foundation for success, happiness, and fulfillment. By treating the brain as the priceless asset it truly is, we unlock the potential to live more effectively, think more clearly, and achieve more than we ever imagined.